So, all right, we are going to do a rig rundown of my setup. This is long overdue. I've had a lot of comments about people asking how I get the sound I do and what kind of pedals and things I use. So I thought I'm just going to do a whole video just going right through, and we're going to know three things first. One is that I'm going to go pretty quick because I got a lot of things to go over, but I plan on making more in-depth videos for probably most, if not all, my individual pieces of gear. So if there's anything that you like a lot, you want to know more about, just let me know in the comments down below. Say, hey, I like that guitar, that pedal, or that aux box, which we're going to get to in a second. You're probably going to like that. You might want to know more about it. Just let me know, and come bump it up the list. I'll make it more of a priority to make a video more in depth on that. The second thing we need to know is I have links to all, or pretty much all these things in the description down below, to Amazon, and I have to mention, this is the first time I made a video like this, but they're affiliate links, so it supports the channel, gives a little percentage to me if you do purchase anything. I think even if you just go around and you end up buying toilet paper or something instead, it gives a cut too. I don't know, but yeah, so check that stuff out if you want to see more info on that. I prefer using sweetwater.com as my main go-to place to buying gear online, but they don't have an affiliate program, so had to use the Amazon links. Now, the third thing is that while I'm going to be getting into gear here, my personal philosophy is that gear is not the most important thing, and I have to say this because I've just come across so many people, they just everywhere on the internet, people I play with, students I've had, that are just obsessed with gear and that don't necessarily play all that great, or that maybe they should be prioritizing that over the gear. With that being said, if someone's really into gear, and maybe that's you, and you really, really enjoy it, and it's just a hobby, that's fine. But just keep in mind that, what your goals are. If you want to play the best you can play, don't worry so much about gear. Just focus on playing and learning more about that and actually practicing your guitar. It's much more important than gear and having serious gear acquisition syndrome. It's a thing, We can go down that rabbit hole. With that being said, though, there's definitely pieces of gear that I've gotten that have radically changed my playing, that have been this kind of aha moment of this is the way I've wanted things to sound. My distortion pedal, my overdrive pedal was one example. That mysterious aux thing, that's magical, that we're going to get to later. That just totally changed the way I record. So gear can be a big help too. So we'll get more to things like that as we go along. But without further ado, let's start with the top of the chain of the command here. Let's look at my instruments, then we're going to go through my pedals, and then down to my amp, my recording setup, and we're going to move kind of quick, and then you'll have a good overview of how I have my sound. So here is my newest guitar to the collection. It is a B&G Little Sister Crossroads, and get this out of the way here. It's like my hair, it's always in my face now, it's so long. It's a beauty. The way it looks, sounds, plays, excellent. I'm going to actually use this as my guitar to go over everything else, just to keep it simple. But to show you my other instruments here, I don't actually have too many. Some people would say, wow, how many instruments do you have? I know people that have 30, 40, actually one friend that's got 80 guitars, pretty ridiculous. But this is my slide guitar, which I have not been playing a whole lot lately, but when I play slide, I've finally narrowed it down after changing up years to playing an open E, and this is a Telecaster, Fender Tele, and it has humbucker, a pickup on there, and it's set up in open E, and it's set up, my guitar repair guy set it up to play for slide, so it's got a high action, things like that, and I use it just for that. Then my kind of main guitar for just general stuff here is a Fender Strat. I got this right when I get out of school. I'm going to school for jazz, and actually don't even own a jazz guitar. I don't even play jazz now anymore. And this is, it's got humbuckers, or got a humbucker as well. I can tell I like that sound. And it's just a solid guitar. Yeah, it just works well for anything, So it's kind of my main workhorse guitar. Then my one acoustic is this Breedlove guitar, made by Breedlove, who I just asked me. They reached out to me to be part of their artist series. So now I feel like, can you trust me? Now I'm part of their team. But I love it. I got to me 5 years ago or so, and tried out all kinds of guitars, all kinds of Taylors, Martins that were around my price range, but some cheaper Martins. And I like this the best, so I went with it. I love it, and I'd love to get maybe a Martin someday and have two and be a good, nice contrasting style of guitars. But now, I don't know, now I'm part of the team. I might have to get another reload, I don't know, you know. And then my one bass here, this is a Fender Jazz bass. It's I think of a 64 reissue. It came out in the 90s. And yeah, it's solid. I love it. And then this nice guitar rack. I could get into a lot of different gear here. I got the light under here. I got the other day. This rack is really cool. I forget who makes it. Oh, it's a String Swing. They make wall holders that are really good. So that's it. But let's check out the pedals now. So this is the right side of my pedals. So I'm using that B&G guitar again. And the first thing I'm going into here is my Polytune 2 mini tuner. They actually have a third version now. I don't really know what the difference is, but it's actually you can tune all your strings at once. You can see like up, see the red, it's like, so that's my E over there is slightly off, slightly flat, and then you can get more specific with that one there. And it's excellent. Actually, the way the lights are, it's really cool. So when I'm playing outdoor gigs and it's sunny, you can still see it really, really well. So that's my first thing in there. And you know, and speaking of going through a chain of command, some of you might want to ask, like, oh, what's a chain of command? I don't really know, and I can't even tell. There's so many cables all over the place going underneath. I don't remember. Clearly, I can tell though. I'm going into my tuner first, and I remember just following some diagram I found online, some article that seemed to make sense. I don't know. To me at the time, I don't really know a ton of the specs of actually I really don't know it at all, you know, with this stuff. I just know what sounds good to me, and I know kind of how to use it. I focus on that and being as musical as I can with my pedals, but not getting into the real heavy duty stuff with it. So I don't remember, but I followed this diagram of what made sense for your chain there, and that's what I got. So I can't say more than that though. So we have the tuner, and first thing I'll say is my clean boost. So here it is without it. And then just a little clean boost. This is the EP booster from Exotic. I have it set just barely on, and it just kind of like colors the sound a little bit. I like it. It doesn't give a completely clean sound. It's just a little bit colored, but I like that when I want a little more. So it's very useful when usually I want to take a solo clean, but I just need a little more volume. I just step on that, boost it up, and that works great. And sometimes I even just leave it on, depending on what I want to do. So that's my clean booster. Then I just got, this is my most recent one. I never had a compression pedal, but doing a lot of fish stuff lately, so I figured, oh man, I got to get some kind of compression, right? Because Trey uses a lot of compression. And I ended up settling on another Exotic pedal, the SP instead of the EP. And yeah, and that just kind of, you know, smooths things out, gives you definitely more sustain. I usually keep it on the low setting, but there's 3 settings. Again, I'm going to not go really in depth with this stuff, but just to give you a quick overview here. It's probably already taken longer than I'm hoping to. Then this is one I was saying really changed my sound dramatically, and this is from Wampler, Tumnus. So it's an overdrive pedal. I was using the Ibanez Tube Screamer before, and that's actually what Trey uses as well. He has a couple of them, so I have 2 here as well. The same idea, using just a little bit on one, and the other one's got a lot, and then sometimes I'll use both of them, so I have 3 different kind of drive settings. But I never really liked the Tube Screamer. I mean, like when he uses it, sure, it's great, but it just, I find it colors the sound in a way that I don't want. It kind of like, it feels like it boosts the mid-range and stuff. This pedal is very transparent. And it just sounds very, very natural. So I just throw it on there when I'm playing rhythm. Before, I would never use my Tube Screamer because it would just be too intense. And I'm not like a big rocker, you know. I want more subtle stuff. So this is great. And then again, I've got the other one with some more. Right, so those are my 2 drive pedals. And then we have over here my phase. I got the MXR phase 90. So it gives you a really kind of cool funky thing, or it can take it out really spacey, and just changes the speed of it here, you know. I usually keep it pretty low, so it's a little more subtle and stuff. And then we have a wah. I had, I think of the Dunlop wah for a while. It didn't last long. The Hendrix one. Then I had a Vox one. This is a volume pedal. I'll talk about that in a second. And that ended up crapping out too. And then I decided, you know what? I got to get a good one because, and this is also exotic. I'm forgetting here, but I got the links in the description if you want to know more about these. Of course, you can check those out. And definitely, this is a lot more pricey than the average wah, but it seems much more well made. I think the tone is better. But the big thing that always got me with my wahs is that essentially what it is, if you don't know what a wah really does, is it's an EQ pedal and it sweeps through. So it's going across the EQ spectrum. So if like low, when you have it all the way down, it's boosting your low stuff, and then when you get up, it's boosting the high, you know, and you just sweep across and it makes that sound. But by boosting it though, it ends up being louder. It's like a volume, it's like a clean boost, but I don't necessarily want that. I want it to be even. So this one has on the side, I don't know if you can see, there's all these knobs. You can adjust the EQ, you can adjust the volume, so it's perfect for me. I dialed it back so that it actually ends up making it even. So you can see, bass with the same volume. That I love, so it doesn't come across as being so aggressively loud and stuff. So the over here we have, I don't know how you pronounce that, Oja, something from Strymon. They make excellent pedals. And that's just with power and everything on here. It's got 5 things, but I've got things daisy chained through with these other cables and stuff to power everything. And then I got a Vox volume pedal, and this is the only one on here that I would like to upgrade. I've got one in mind, I already forget what it is, but all these pedals though, I'm pretty much set, I should say. I'm not really looking to, I'm not someone who, like I said, buys a lot of gear. I slowly upgrade, and a lot of these, if you might look them up, they're expensive pedals, and that's a nice thing about Sweetwater is you can get, it's a dangerous thing, but you can get a finance card if you can't, you know, quite afford some of these right now. A lot of these I couldn't, but I did this, just 0 interest, equal payments. I'd never done anything like that before, but their support is really good, and they team me up with somebody. Now I got this guy Phil. He every time I make an order, he contacts me to make sure everything's all right. Nicest guy, and he convinced me to get the card where you can get stuff ahead of time, and it's investment. You know, that's the way. It's the only thing I spend a lot of money on is this stuff, and it's an investment for me. You know, because it's how I make my living. So that's how I got it. I would like to upgrade though this at some point. This is just a simple volume pedal. I used to use it a lot. I still do, but haven't been gigging much lately. Still in the middle of the pandemic, and I used to play with a lot of singer-songwriters. Sometimes it'd be mellow, and this would be great for atmospheric stuff. You know, put on some delay. And yeah, so I love my volume pedals, but this one, when I go back, it doesn't fully turn off. You can still sort of hear it. It's the only thing I don't like about it, and it doesn't feel quite so smooth. So I do want to upgrade this at some point. There's the Ernie Ball, which is the most popular out there. I used to have that. I did not like that because it was not even in the volume. It was like nothing really happened, and then you get to the top, and then all of a sudden it got loud. So I didn't like that, but that's the most popular one you see, unfortunately. So let's switch the camera here so you can see the other side. And over here, I'm going to skip this because we're going to come back to that. I have my reverb pedal and tremolo. So this side is the reverb. So this is Strymon, just like the power supply here. These guys make just such solid stuff. It's called Flint, and that's my go-to reverb. And there's all different types of reverb you can get. Obviously, you know, again, I'm not going to go into detail about all this stuff. But a great way to learn your pedals, though, is just turn the knobs, all the dials, things like that, and figure it out, you know, how things sound yourself. Then we got here the tremolo. So it's got two things in there. So this is an expensive pedal, but you get 2 for 1. I actually had a really good tremolo that I ended up, I was gonna say I sold it actually. I think I got it in a bag somewhere. It's in my closet. And it's because I didn't need it anywhere. I needed space. I got limited. You can see everything's packed in here. This is all the space I've got, and this is nice because it's both in there. This is an expression pedal. This was not too much money at all. It was like 30 bucks, maybe 50 bucks. And it changes the speed. So I have it going into here, controlling the tremolo speed. So here it is, slow, and then sped up. So it's kind of nice because I like to match sometimes the tempo when I'm throwing on, so I don't just throw on a random tremolo. So that's a really nice feature. But you can use this to control lots of things in pedals and pedals you might have that you don't even realize, you can use an expression pedal to do that. So I could get more of these, if I had space, and can control more stuff. But like I've said, I like to keep things simple. A lot of these I don't even use that much, And the last pedal, one I love, playing leads, rhythm as well, is my Strymon El Capistan. This is a tape echo, my delay pedal here. And I like that it's got the tap delay, so I can again match, just like the using this. I have to kind of use my ear and feel it out, get the tempo right. But here you just tap it out, the tempo, and then it gets it, and you can change it so it's dotted 8th notes, quarter notes, 16th notes, the speed of the delay and all that stuff. But I really like this. It's a really kind of natural sounding, old school kind of tape delay, that old kind of like Pink Floyd tape delay type of sound. So I really like that. Those are all my pedals. So now let's take a look at the final chain of the command. All right, so the last part here, here's my desk. And actually this is a super awesome desk. If you got back problems, get a standing desk. This is Uplift. Actually, when I got this, it was like one of the only ones I had, but now there's all kinds of brands. My wife just got one that was like half the price of this. It's just as good. But actually, I don't even have any back problems anymore. I used to have back pain from sitting too much playing, but now you got to get this thing. It'll save you a lot in the long run. So what I'm going into my amp here. So I got a small amp I use for gigging, but this is my main amp for recording. It is a Fender Custom Vibrolux Reverb, even though I don't actually even use the reverb, you can see on there, turned all the way down. And so I'm going into this, but then the cable that goes into the speaker is pulled out, and I don't use the speaker at all because I use this magical thing right here, the Universal Audio aux box. And I can't even get into all the technical details of what it does. I don't know, but basically, in a nutshell, I go into the amp, so you're hearing the amp, and I can crank it as loud as I want, and then I go into this, and this will model different speakers. And I've got different like little presets I use, so I can, on this right here, but you can go into the software and you can get crazy detailed stuff and save things. And that then goes into another Universal Audio Apollo Twin. This is actually an older one. They got new models. And that, I don't even know if you actually need this to record with the aux box. I don't think you do, but this is how I do all my recording with other instruments and things like that too. And that goes into the computer, right? So that models the amp. So the beauty of that, which it really, I'm not really into fake things, but it just sounds so unbelievably realistic, the way it feels and everything. But that means I can then crank my amp as loud as I want, and the volume stays the same, but I get a different tone. And I can use my monitors during the day or in between my son's nap time here, but then I use my headphones when he's napping because his crib is in the next room right over there against the wall. So that doesn't really work out well at night too, but it opens things up to just recording whenever I want to, and cranking as loud as I want the amp, get the exact tone. So that's another way I get dialing my tone, is not just the Wampler tumness again, but also just cranking my amp sometimes, but sometimes keeping it really low too when I want a super clean sound. So that is it. And then the last thing is then going again into the Apollo, which is another kind of magical recording device here. Both of these very expensive, but very good investments if you can swing it, or if not, you can always do that finance thing. That's how I did it. You just pay it off over time. And then I go into my Mac here, my iMac, and I use Logic. Same thing as GarageBand, it's just a paid version. And that kind of thing, the sound quality doesn't really matter, the software you use in terms of the signal going in. And I use all the effects in here. And I could go off, making a long video about recording, things like that. More about my live kind of setup, which it's essentially the same thing, but my approach of how to do it and things like that. So I hope that was helpful. If you are still watching now, I guess I would assume it was, because this is a pretty long rundown. It's like most informal video I've probably made to date. But let me know in the comments down below what kind of pieces of gear that you saw that you particularly liked, or you want to know more about it, or especially hearing more. I didn't play a ton, so I can go in depth and show you a lot of the different settings and things like that, and different musical situations, and playing rhythm lead and how these things sound, like with the delay pedal, with the tumness, things like that. And or get really into the aux, because that is really, that's where it's at. That is a huge piece of my recording sound. So hope that helps, and let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.